Twitter is the one source that is routinely quoted by what I'll call the mainstream media, although I think that definition needs to be looked at a little more closely. But, our mainstream media quotes Twitter as a source more often than any other and again, I say non-mainstream source, and lumping Twitter in as a non-mainstream source, I think is a mistake. But it's the only non-mainstream source that's quoted with regularity on the mainstream media. So no,
and so
it is
anecdotally as well.
Yeah,
right. In such granular analytic or anecdotal methods, it drives me crazy. It's like, well, that's like one dude or one, you know what I mean? And you see it come up and like, well, Twitter users are very upset about it. Like, what?
Oh, no, there was a thing this weekend. I'm a Phish fan. I like Phish, although Friday night I had some oysters that gave me food poisoning. So I didn't
the
like
other kind of Phish.
Yeah, but I like Phish, the band with the PH. And on Friday, they did this show for Earth Day at Madison Square Garden. Now, it was a rescheduling of their New Year's Eve run, and because they couldn't do they chose not to do New Year's Eve at Madison Square Garden because of the Omicron surge that was happening and all that. So they delayed it to April. They do a 4-night run. They do December 29, 30, 31, and then January 1st. So the third night is always the New Year's Eve night. It's a longer show. And so this Friday night was their longer show. And Phish always does something extra for New Year's Eve. And we don't know what they would have done for New Year's Eve this year because, of course, they didn't play that show at Madison Square Garden. But they did do something extra on Friday. It was Earth Day, and they turned Madison Square Garden into the ocean. They had dolphins and whales swimming around while the band played. We weren't there. We chose to watch the live stream of it, not knowing what they were going to do. And it was like, it was more spectacular than what you would see at like a Pink Floyd tour with all the flying animals. But Pink Floyd does this for an entire tour, and Phish did it for one night. Like they worked with a creative team to pull all this together. I have no idea how much they spent, but it totally, there's no way they weren't upside down on this evening, and they're totally okay with that. Like that's how that band is. But one video in particular of that a fan just shot from within Madison Square Garden, some 2-minute long video, if that.
Yeah, okay.
Blew up on Twitter, like Barstool Sports. So suddenly now Phish was in the mainstream, and then this is a band that generally people know their name, but nobody really pays attention to them, other than people who care about the band. And now it's like it blew up. Barstool Sports retweeted it, and it went from there. Like, and then everybody retweeted it, and it's gotten hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of views. And now there's some discussion about, wow, I wonder what summer tour is going to look like for this band. Like, are people going to show up expecting swimming, because they ain't going to get it. It's not going to happen. This is a one-off, folks, That'll never happen again. But that's the impact of Twitter, is it can change public conversation. So, I was having this conversation with someone who was very concerned, and it was to your point. It was, here's this billionaire who's now in control of this thing, much like other billionaires are in control of other similar things, let's say. Sure. And the question is, in general, is that a good thing for us? And the answer might be that, Twitter in Elon's hands is better than Twitter in anyone else's hands. Now, we have to be careful with, just being okay with letting one person sort of who sees the world differently from us, which we've already maintained, in control of something so powerful that can lead to, major historically, if we look back, over the last 100 years, 150 years, that can be a problem, right? But it can also be a good thing. And our pets live that way, right? They live under the wing of creatures that see the world differently than them. And they seem to live pretty well for the most part. Our pets do. So, but it's hard to say. I get the concern that one person, there are no checks and balances. I mean, essentially what's happening is Elon is saying, I'm going to choose, that we're going to follow all the rules and all this, but it takes all the checks and balances out of it, right?